by Nissan of Lake Charles. At your service with news for Southwest Louisiana. This is 7 News at Noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Agnes Derwent. 3 deaths are attributed to bad weather, 1 each reported in North Louisiana, Texas, and Oklahoma. And depending on where you live, rising floodwaters in some areas are forcing evacuations in Vernon Parish. More on that in just a moment. But right now, meteorologist Ben Terry is here with the very latest in the first alert forecast.
Good news is that we do have a break in that heavy rain for Southwest Louisiana. Our friends over into Acadiana, though, Lafayette down to New Iberia up to Opelousas, they're seeing the heavy rain that we saw earlier this morning. And looking at the latest view now of 7 Storm Vision HD, we've still got some light showers over the area, but if you're heading toward Lafayette, eastward to Baton Rouge, a lot of heavy rain, possibly some flooding concerns as we head later this afternoon into Acadiana. But noticing some lighter showers now over parts of Allen, Beauregard, and Vernon parishes, and there are a couple showers that are trying to reform here over extreme southeastern Calcasieu Parish down near the Bell City area. That's pushing up toward, maybe eventually up toward Welsh, if that holds together. But again, that is very light and not causing too many issues, additional floods concerns this afternoon. Now, I want to show you this model because we do have, of course, the heavy rain moving east now, but what could possibly happen, and what is definitely a possibility late tonight, that rain that moves east may begin to pivot back toward the west, retrograde, noticing as we head late tonight, that could give a secondary round of rain back to southwest Louisiana, maybe after midnight. So again, a very tricky forecast, but definitely I would say we need to be looking out for that, because that could give us another round of rain perhaps after midnight. That's why the flash flood watch is extended into Friday. Your current warnings there in maroon for northwestern Beauregard and Vernon, and of course that's going to continue as well, but hopefully with that letting up of the rain that we're seeing right now, maybe some of those flash flood warnings can be allowed to expire, especially northeastern Allen Parish. But we've got flood concerns that are causing flash flooding now in parts of Vernon Parish, and we're going to be talking more about that with Liz coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks a lot to you, Ben. Well, Governor John Bell Edwards has already called a state of emergency. He's speaking live right now. Let's listen in.
I want Secretary Wilson to come up and give that website with respect to road closures, bearing in mind that this website will only show road closures of state roads and state highways, and so there are going to be multiple other road closures of local roads that we won't have on this website. I do want to caution people too that once roads are open, there is a process we have to go through to inspect bridges, because you have debris that gets washed downstream that could damage pilings, and you also have scouring potentially in these locations and may render bridges unsafe. And so we're going to have more bridges to inspect than we can quickly do. So I'm asking everyone to be mindful of that as well. So with that, I'm going to ask Secretary Wilson to come and give that information, and then I'll allow, or I would invite, I should say, the individuals behind me, the state legislators, to come up and offer any comments.
Obviously something that is of state concern with all of the flooding. Evacuations are already underway in parts of Vernon Parish. Sheriff Sam Kraft says people living along Vernon Lake and Anacoco Lake have been told to leave their homes due to the extremely high lake levels. The sheriff strongly recommended people living along the Sabine River or low-lying areas affected by river runoff should also evacuate. As you heard from Ben, the water level of the Sabine River is expected to reach an all-time high. VPSO agents with the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, state police, and area firefighters are all currently at numerous locations throughout the parish and are assisting residents in evacuating high water areas. Vernon Parish schools are already closed for today. Sheriff Kraft asks that citizens stay off roadways unless travel is absolutely necessary. Several highways in Vernon Parish are shut down, including Highway 171 north and southbound lanes are closed between Jet Road and Hornbeck. A portion of Highway 392 is also shut down due to flooding, and Highway 464, 1 mile south of Caney, is closed from flooding. Authorities are talking about a possible life-threatening situation along the Sabine River with more than a foot of rain in the last 24 hours. Flood levels at the Toledo Bend are rising, and KPLC's Liz Coe joins us live from Highway 392 near the Toledo Bend Dam with more.
Agnes, just as you said, we're on that highway that's been blocked off. Now, we're about 6 miles away from the Toledo Bend Dam, and take a look here. We were trying to get there, but the road leading up to the dam is all blocked off. Now, the Vernon Parish Sheriff's Office is out here, and they've been evacuating residents all morning, and they're evacuating because of severe flooding of the homes. Sheriff Sam Kraft is asking all residents in the area to evacuate, especially those who live along the Sabine River, Vernon Lake, or Anacoca Lake. The National Weather Service says they recorded the highest level of water at the Toledo Bend Reservoir this morning. It's also an all-time record for flooding of the Sabine River. Viewers have been sending us photos of their flooded camps and homes, and some say they've been here for more than 30 years, but they've never seen water this high before. The National Weather Service also says it's the most water that's ever been released from the spillway. In fact, 9 out of 10 gates are currently open. The Leesville Leader reports so much water is currently being released that the ground is even shaking, and that water is now heading downstream the Sabine River. Again, authorities are asking all residents to evacuate the area as soon as they can, and we'll be posting live updates of the flood conditions as well as any new news here near the Toledo Bend Dam in the Sabine River. At your service, live on Highway 392, Liz Coe, KPLC 7 News.
All right, thanks, Liz, for that live report. Now, severe weather this morning caused power outages in parts of South Lake Charles. Power crews were working to fix down lines and restore electricity to residents. The lines were down between Ryan and West Sale to Ryan and McNeese. Earlier today, Our Lady Queen of Heaven School in Lake Charles canceled classes due to a power outage. While there are still outages across the state, Energy indicates power is being restored to most customers as quickly as crews can do it. The weather could have played a part in 2 separate 18-wheeler accidents that happened this morning on I-10. KPLC's Erica Ferrando joins us live from the newsroom with what we know about those accidents.
Agnes, there were 2 separate 18-wheeler accidents on I-10 near Opelousas Street this morning, just after 8 o'clock, one heading westbound and one heading eastbound. The 18-wheeler westbound jackknifed, causing the intersection to close and traffic to detour off of I-10 onto the service road near Opelousas Street. The second 18-wheeler accident happened on I-10 eastbound shortly after, causing lane closure as well. I spoke with Leroy Woods with One-on-One Tire and Automotive, which is located right next to the I-10 curve near Opelousas Street, and he says he sees accidents like this too often.
Oh, it's treacherous. It's scary. Every time it rains, I try to make all my customers don't even come in this driveway this way, come in the back way. If it rains, because it's always something happening, always. It's just being too fast on the curb, the low shift, and there we go. Jackknife, diesel all over the place, you know, stuff like that.
All lanes heading west on I-10 near Opelousas Street are now open, but I-10 eastbound is closed right now at that stretch, so avoid taking I-10 if possible. No injuries were reported and no other vehicles were involved. At your service, Erica Ferrando, KPLC 7 News.
Erica, thanks. For highway information in southwest Louisiana and across the state, either call 511 or access up-to-date information online by going to 511la.org. We mentioned Vernon Parish, but Beauregard Parish is also dealing with issues forcing schools in that parish to cancel classes for today. Besides Vernon, Beauregard, and Our Lady Queen of Heaven in Lake Charles, all other schools are open today. Ben will be back in a couple of minutes with the latest in the First Alert forecast. And for the latest on cancellations, closures, and a complete list of sandbag locations, head to KPLCTV.com and the KPLC 7 News mobile app. And you can email your weather-related photos to newmedia@KPLCTV.com. Now, we were telling you about all of the different flooding situations. KPLC's Teresa Schmidt joins us now on the phone from Evans. Teresa.
Hey, Agnes. Well, it's been quite an eventful morning. I'll tell you what, I'm standing on a little highway called 111. I'm just south of a little community called Evans. And we've been standing here shooting video, watching video of people whose cars, you know, and they've had tow trucks to come and get them. We met a family who had left last night to avoid the water, and then they came back today because they wanted to rescue their animals, and they cut loose a couple of their horses because, you know, horses are smart enough to get up high out of the water so that they won't drown, and they came and they got some little ducks and some of their other pets and all. Now, with me is the volunteer fire chief of Evans, and he has really seen some stuff this morning, and so I'm going to put him on. He's going to tell us a little bit about what he saw as far as the river this morning and what Evans looks like and what they've been trying to... Chief William Lofton. Go ahead, Chief.
Yes, this is William Lofton. We've been out since daylight this morning. We've moved some families out of near the river, and they've got their belongings out. So everybody on the south end of the parish here is in pretty good shape, but the river's still coming up pretty fast, and we expect it to flood their home and camps. But there's still some more got to be done up around Evans north of here. So.
And what were you saying you want the people to do?
Want them to do?
Yes, as far as getting out of harm's
way. No, they need to be respectful to us because we're trying to help them and want them to get out so we won't have to rescue them after the water comes up. You know, while we have means of a way to get out, we need to get out.
Right. And what were you telling me about how fast it came up this morning?
I talked to one person this morning. He said from daylight to about 7 o'clock, the river rose approximately a foot, and that's pretty fast. So I understand the gates is open wide on the dam up on Toledo, so we're expecting to get a lot higher than what it is now.
And I understand they did open a school or someplace for people to go to in Evans if they need someplace to stay.
We did have it open this morning, but they did too many people show up, and I talked with the assistant principal there, and it's available if they need it. So all we got to do is open it back up. So.
Okay.
All right, there. That was a Chief Lofton out of Evans, along with Teresa Schmidt. She is over there covering that story, along with also Candy Rodriguez is out there as well. So we have crews all over checking out all of these flooding situations, evacuations, and much more. So we understand that a lot of that is still going to be happening, and we're going to be checking in with what's happening in North Louisiana, a dire situation there. So we'll be checking on that when we come back.
Cheated on me?
No. I had a boyfriend when I met you, and I cheated on him with you. We did it together. As a team.
Well, at least now we know Maxine has had life experiences. Nasty, dirty life experiences.
The Carmichael Show returns Sunday at 9/8 Central on NBC.
Attention, if you're 50 years or older, this message is for you. Millions of Americans were exposed to asbestos working in factories, oil fields, refineries, shipyards, paper mills, and other jobs prior to 1982. You may have been exposed and not even know. If you or a family member worked anywhere near asbestos, you may have been exposed and qualify for cash compensation. Schedule your free health test today. Call 855-579-5299 or go to krwlawyers.com.
Turn your loving on and try something crazy good. I'm all about new hot stuff. Makes me crinkle inside. Bet you never tasted flavor this big. Insane, right?
Only Rallies and Checkers is crazy enough to offer 2 huge Alaskan cod fillets boxed with fries for just $2. Reel in 2 huge beer-battered authentic Alaskan cod fillets with our famous seasoned fries and irresistible dill tartar sauce. Get hooked for just $2. Only at Rallies and Checkers.
Epic meals, epic deals.
Drone footage shows just how paralyzed some neighborhoods are after heavy rains and flooding in Bossier City. With more than a foot of rain so far and the potential for more, parts of the northwest Louisiana are under a mandatory evacuation order. For a closer look at flooding in North Louisiana, we turn to Sharice Gibson from our sister station, KSLA in Shreveport.
I'm Sharice Gibson live at Victorious Point. What I'm standing in right now is usually a grassy park area. Actually, it's cement that I'm standing on right now. But because of this constant rainfall, this park has been turned into a lake. And here's why a lot of people are setting up. They're getting prepared for this rising water because this road that we're standing on, this is the only entryway into Victorious Point. So if this water rises and it floods over here, then you're going to have a major issue. You won't be able to get into the neighborhood, and that's why people have things like this set aside. They have boats that are set aside along this roadway. We saw another boat at the beginning of the entryway, and we also saw people pulling up, making sure they had extra boats, because if this street floods over at Victoria's Point, it will basically become an island. No one will be able to get inside. So right now, this neighborhood obviously seen this before. They've dealt with this, and they're taking precautions, tying up their boats along this roadway into Victoria's Point, another area that has dealt with some major flooding. So far, we've not seen any flooding inside of any homes, but if you take a look over here, mostly people dealing with flooding on the backyards of their homes. A lot of toy equipment, a lot of exercise equipment, some people said. They're all damaged from the flooding. So again, all of this, what used to be a park, all of this cement that I'm standing on, now looking like a man-made lake in this area, and they're hoping that this rainfall comes to a stop so that they'll be able to go back to some sense of normalcy. Live in Victoria Point, Sharice Gibson for the Raycom News Network.
Thanks to Sharice. And right now, I want to talk about our own weather.
A lot of the state dealing with flooding. We'll have a look at that forecast for you coming up after the break. Stay with us.
The Spring Black Friday sale is this weekend at Stein. We're in full bloom with better brands and lower prices. Like assorted 4-inch annuals, only 99 cents. 5 bags of Cypress-colored mulch for $10 and decorate with 12-inch patio stone, 89 cents each. Fertilize your yard with Scott's Bonus S. Pay $19.78 and get an additional $5 after mail-in rebate. Pay $14.99 for a 42-inch Craftsman riding mower and get a free dump cart. See our tabloid for store-wide savings during the Stein Spring Black Friday sale. Better brands and lower prices only at Stein.
Larry's Old Time Trade Days takes place this weekend at their amazing marketplace located in Winnie. You'll find everything from rare antiques to delicious food while checking out the countless magnificent vendors. Larry's Old Time Trade Days, where you can find it here.
It was late at night, and I had just gotten off of work when a careless driver ran into the back of me. My first call after the wreck was to Morris Bart.
Danielle was injured in a car wreck and needed help fast. She called us, and we went to work immediately.
I called Morris Bart. He got me $180,000.
Injured in a car wreck, you know what to do. Just call 477-4600 or Google Morris Bart. One call, that's all.
Many years ago, our community had the foresight to build the Calcasieu Ship Channel to bring economic energy to Southwest Louisiana. Now it's America's energy corridor, supplying some 7% of the nation's energy products and energizing 40% of our local economy. But the channel requires constant maintenance and dredging so the ship's energy and dollars can keep flowing. Let's remember the importance of this vital resource, the Calcasieu Ship Channel, America's energy corridor, and make sure it always stays dredged and open for business.
Get a weather forecast that's hour by hour, anywhere, anytime, created exclusively for you. With the KPLC Personal Forecast, you'll never be caught off guard again. Sponsored by Home Furniture. From the 7 Storm Team, your first alert weather with meteorologist Ben Terry.
All right, and just to put things in sort of a recap mode on the Toledo Bend situation, as we were talking about earlier from Liz, basically the reservoir hit a record high this morning, 174.4. And so what that means is, with one generator only operational at this time, 9 of the 11 floodgates are open at 22 feet. That's an all-time record with the amount of water that's coming out of that dam. And, of course, all that water comes right down the Sabine River, and it's going to cause record flooding over these next few days. So definitely be staying tuned. The KPLC 7 News mobile app, we're going to be giving updates on impacts that are expected downstream. And as soon as we get information on that, we're going to be passing it along to you. But record all-time flooding over these next several days down the Sabine River. 74, the temperature right now. Here's your radar view. Storms, thankfully, have made their push east this afternoon. A lot of heavy rain, though, from Lafayette to Baton Rouge. Not advisable to really travel through this, as this is going to cause some issues along I-10, especially between Lafayette and Baton Rouge this afternoon. All that sort of moving in a general north direction, and more storms are back building out in the Gulf of Mexico. We still have the active flash flood warnings out northwestern Beauregard. Vernon, obviously, there's some flash flood going on now. Closer to the Toledo Bend Dam, as we were looking at earlier there from Liz. But at least the new rain that we're seeing is allowed to sort of take a break and not really exacerbate those flooding problems anymore this afternoon. But I think we've got another round on the way. In fact, what we're looking at as, of course, the flash flood watch extending into tomorrow, because we're not completely done with the rain. Watch what happens as we go into tonight. This plume, so to speak, or fire hose of rain that's now affecting areas to our east may actually begin to retrograde back to the west late tonight, as the models are showing. That low sort of pivoting a bit to our south, and that may pull back in more rain over our area after midnight. So definitely a possibility. If we see this into Friday, I think our highest rain chances will come early in the day, mainly in the morning. And then as we head toward Friday, this is after midnight, those storms may begin to make a push back our way. Then as we get toward Friday afternoon, I think we'll see that slack back off and that flood threat begin to drop off for our area. So it would generally be early in the morning if we see that additional push of storms into Friday. And then as we head into Saturday, maybe one more round there of showers, but again, I'm not expecting a flood concern really after late tonight tomorrow with that last push of the heaviest rain. Here's the upper low, though, still spinning here over Mexico, pulling in all that Gulf moisture. So until this departs, and this is really not going to move northeast of our area until sometime Saturday, we could be talking about more rain. That's why we've got to be under that threat there for possibly more heavy rain late tonight into early tomorrow with that second wave possibly moving back in. So for today, 78, heavy at times east of our area. We get that break here in Lake Charles and showers possible with some heavier storms moving back in after midnight, perhaps into early Friday morning with those AM storms. Then for Saturday, a few showers linger, but there you go again, not expecting to see that flood threat into the weekend. We should see things much lighter at that point. We'll bring some sun back by Sunday, and temperatures will be back up into the low 80s as we go Monday into early next week. We'll get a nice dry period into next week. And just a reminder, this weekend we do spring forward, setting those clocks ahead 1 hour Saturday night. We've got more 7 News at noon on the way after the break. Stay with us.
The Weather Watcher Network is sponsored by Mark Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
This is the weekend you've been waiting for. Home Furniture's 2-day only $2 million sell-off that's just too big to miss. This Friday and Saturday only, just 2 days only, Home Furniture sells it all off for mere pennies on the dollar. This is a huge sale, a major event. Find all top brands, all top quality, and the savings are astounding. But remember, this $2 million sell-off at Home Furniture positively ends Saturday night. Shame on you if you miss it.
Home Furniture plus betting.
I'm attorney T. Claude Duvall. Clients often ask me, what will the insurance company pay for my injuries?
Huffis Duvall settled my car wreck case for $148,000.
Your injury case is probably worth a lot more than the insurance company may offer.
Huffis Duvall got the insurance company to pay $750,000.
Call us right now to discuss your injury case.
After a car wreck, make the call to Huffis Duvall. Just dial 9 and all zeros.
There are moments in life when you should only worry about one thing, more than your car, more than your house. There are moments in life when you should really only worry about one thing, living them. That's why State Farm is here, so you can enjoy moments like this, worry-free.
Call State Farm agent Dave McCarty at 337-478-7052 to protect what matters.
Start your morning with Brittany Glazer. Know what's happening hour by hour and in your neighborhood. 7 News Sunrise with Brittany Glazer. Our morning starts with yours. The 7 Storm Team Skycam Network is sponsored by Billy Navarre. With quick service and low prices, we challenge any dealer in America to beat. The News Stock Market Report is sponsored by Sam A. Baer Financial Group. Perhaps we should talk.
We've seen a rather spirited discussion on social media about schools being closed Wednesday. Southwest Louisiana was lucky that factors came together to spare us from the worst of the weather. Not every community in Louisiana was that fortunate. But our school systems had to make decisions about closings before anyone could fully know just how far north the worst of the rains would occur. We tend to be supportive of decisions made in the interest of our children's safety, even if closing schools turns out to have been arguably unnecessary in hindsight. Most of the online comments we see point out that our generation went to school in any kind of weather, and that is certainly true. I went to school once during a hurricane. Hurricane Edith was really not a big deal, but the tornado it spawned, which ripped through my school, certainly was a big deal. I'll admit to crying like a baby when I saw the corner of the gym collapsed because my sisters were supposed to be in there. No one was killed or seriously injured in that. But it forever colors my perspective on whether schools should close in the face of possible severe weather. And while we agree that questioning decisions of any public body helps build a better, more responsive government, we also support the school system in making tough calls for the safety of our most valuable citizens, the children of a better Southwest Louisiana.
You get hurt in an accident, you get yourself a lawyer. You call Morris Bart.
My attorney is Morris Bart.
Injured in a car wreck? You know what to do. Just call 477-4600 or Google Morris Bart. One call, that's all.
Right now in Market Basket, MB Premium Select Angus Beef Boneless Sirloin Chip Roast, $2.99 a pound. Or a 6-pack paper towels or bathroom tissue, 12-pack, 2 for $4. Now that's a lower price.
When it comes to window treatments, there are a lot of options, and finding the right one can be overwhelming. That's what makes Budget Blinds so different. We bring the showroom to you. It's our job to ask you questions, find out what you like and how you want the space to feel. Then we'll help you focus in on some options that will work best in your home. Call me and let's talk about your rooms. I'm Phyllis, and at Budget Blinds, service is always in style.
Safer neighborhoods are all about connections, so join SWLA Connected today. It's easy to get started. Log on to sign up or download the free app. Sponsored by Dave McCarty State Farm.
Need to know the latest news in Southwest Louisiana? 7 News has an app for that. On air, online, and on your mobile device. Get 7 News now. Sponsored by L'Auberge Casino Resort.
If you worked at a refinery, chemical plant, or shipyard prior to 1982, you may have been exposed to deadly asbestos fibers. If you have experienced shortness of breath, chronic coughs, or unexplained chest pains, you may be eligible for financial compensation. Call 855-397-3997 to schedule your free asbestos health test today and see if you're eligible for compensation. We have 3 convenient clinics in the Lake Charles area. Call 855-397-3997 today.
Make it a sunrise day. Weekdays with John Bridges.
All right, the rain moving east for this afternoon. I think we get another round, though, late tonight, and that will be the finale of the heaviest rain as we head toward the weekend. Things clearing out on Saturday.
All right, Cynthia and Wade are back here for Live at 5. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. We'll see you again tomorrow.